Hey, welcome to Wealth Rewired. I'm your host, Mark Robinson, and welcome to another episode. And the topic I really wanted to about today is how to think like a wealth creator, not a worker. That includes us in the business side of things, right? Because in reality, if you are a business owner, and quite often what I find is those people that are in business, they've just got a job, but it's way more stressful, right? At least as an employee at 5 o'clock, you can bugger off home and don't have to worry, don't have to, right? A lot of employees do, right? But don't have to worry about it. But as business owners and entrepreneurs, mate, we're constantly stressed. Well, those that don't have their system in place, but constantly stressed, constantly doing this, thinking about that, doing this, going home, having a quick feed, pat the pat your partner on the bum and and then get back into the office and do another ton of work, right? So, if you've got that sort of business, we can talk about that another day. But I'm telling you right now, when you truly get your business up and running in the way it should be, well, not only will it create like an asset, right? But you really want to utilize it like an ATM to pull money out and make other income streams. That's the real key. Yeah. But today I want to talk about how to think like a wealth creator, not a worker. So the employee mindset versus creator mindset. I can tell you right now, guys, that employees, you trade time for money, whereas creators trade ideas, values, and decisions, right? We create value and we look to then, profit from that, always in a good way, right? Employees seek security, whereas creators create their own security through leverage, through designing their own life, through making sure that they've got multiple streams of income, etc., etc. And I can tell you right now, guys, that there's not that many. Well, I reckon nearly every single business owner, entrepreneur on the planet, at some point, whether it's weekly, daily, sometimes depending on where you are in your journey, monthly, yearly, we have these split moments where we go, F it, man, I should just go get a job, right? Just a split second. All right. Sometimes we don't even know we've had it, but I just know it's there, right? Well, maybe it's just me. I don't know. But yeah, like I know it. And then you just know you're unemployable and you just, carry it back on and go on with the task, right? But that security is a big thing. I personally think you're far more secure uh, as an entrepreneur business owner than you are as an employee. Yeah. And I really, really believe that. Yeah. Employees, they wait for direction. Creators generate that direction, right? Employees avoid risk. Creators manage it and structure it in the right way. Yeah. One mindset asks, what do I do? The other asks, what do I create? Yeah, and I know that not all employees are, so don't just, switch off and get it. I get the fact that there'll be a bunch of you listening that are employees, but are on that creator mindset, right? I get that. Yeah. This is just general, right? Why most people chase income though, instead of influence is because income is linear, right? Whereas influence is exponential. And we sit in those safety zones, right? We sit in there and go, this is my income, right? And I'm comfortable with it. Because I know, like when we get our members to do this exercise, right? And it's basically what's their financial independence spending plan, right? Their FIN number. And the reason why we call it that is because, when time and money is no issue, how are you going to live your life? What it's going to cost to live life your way? And we say it that way for a number of reasons. And the real key here, guys, is because we need two data sets. We need to know exactly where you are and where you want to be, right? It gives us that target. Now, what I've found over the years, and I've been doing this for well over a decade in the education space, 35 years in the financial services, what I've learned is the fact that most people, right, actually are earning their ideal income, right, or pretty much what they can handle, right? We need to do some Reiki and, get rid of money blocks and what have you. But most people are already earning the income that they can handle. And it turns out that what they're earning, pretty much there, give or take 20%. Yeah. So income, all right, is that safety net. That's what I was going to with that. Yeah. Influence opens doors that income never will, right? Wealthy people think, who needs to know me? Not how do I earn more? That making sense, guys? Influence creates opportunities that don't require effort to maintain. and workers chase dollars, whereas creators attract opportunity, right? So how wealth creators interpret fear, failure, and risk, right? For me, what I find, it's fear is a signal. It's not a stop sign, right? Creators look under it, not away from it. Okay, why am I feeling this fear? Is it a good fear? Is it a bad fear? Right? Sometimes we can get our wires crossed, right? With fear. It could be just your internal, right? Your intuition going, something's not right here. So I want to make sure you tune into that, right? Whether it's the fear is the signal, whereas your intuition is the failure, is the signal, right? Failure is data, not identity. Okay, what do we learn from that? Yeah. Risk is assessed with calm mathematics, not emotional noise. I always keep saying you can make better decisions with more data. Yeah. But it's not always the case. The more data you have, the easier it is to make a decision, right? Some of us go and, use the excuse of I need more data, right? Not to make a decision. And quite often, I'd rather you just say no, right? Than think that you need more data in some instances. Yeah. In some. Yeah. Right. Makes sense? Workers fear loss, creators fear stagnation. Making sense, yeah? So why, in terms of, why wealthy people play the long game, right? Because at the end of the day, guys, compounding, I mean, Albert Einstein said it best, right? Compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world, right? He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it. Yeah, because the long game creates compounding, and it's the only real wealth engine. And this is what I love about certain cultures. I think China as an example. And I'm don't want to get into politics or anything like that today for once, right? But I love the fact that they have 1,000-year plan, right? They have 1,000-year plan, and every time they swap out their president or dictator, whatever they call it, right? They stick to that plan. They may modify it here or there, but at the end of the day, they have 1,000-year plan. That's insanely cool. I think it is anyway. It's insanely cool, right? Whereas us Western cultures, right, they don't have 1,000-year plan. The plan that our bloody politicians have is how do I get reelected in 3 years from now, right? 4 years from now, 5 years, whatever the term is. They don't actually get shit done. Right? So this is what it is. And it's that compounding effect. And it's really starting to see in everything that China's doing right now. Not saying, don't take it to get rid of all the stuff that we've learned about them, but that compounding, imagine compounding what they're doing over 1,000 years. Where will they be versus where will we be? Yeah. Long game requires patience, discipline, and emotional regulation. And that's something you really got to understand, right? Because wealth isn't built through sprints. It's built through consistency. And you've heard me say that over the last few episodes, right? We're chasing consistency with your wealth education. Carve out 7 to 10 hours every single week. Be consistent with it. Stick it in your diary. If it's not in your diary, it doesn't count, right? Long-term thinking smooths out that short-term volatility. And I reckon a good example is Bitcoin, right? Recently, Bitcoin was like 100 and something grand, dropped right down to 83, and people started to panic sell and all that sort of stuff. I didn't even know that happened. Thought it was interesting that happened right before the week before CryptoCon in Australia. Right. But why it doesn't worry me is because whenever I buy Bitcoin, I'm buying it for the absolute long term, right? I ultimately want my great grandchildren to spend it, not me. Yeah. So I don't care when I buy it at 101,000. I don't care if I buy it at 80,000, 10,000, 500,000. I buy it for the absolute long term. So all the short term volatility, I don't care. Yeah. And the worker mindsets need instant payoffs. Creators build pipelines. Yeah. So I want to do a thought exercise that will help you shift into the creator identity, right? Instantly, right? What I mean is here, ask yourself this. If I were the wealthiest version of myself today, what decision would I make? If I were the wealthiest version of myself today, what decision would I make? Because this will help bypass all the old habits and it activates that future-based thinking. right? It helps you detach from your fear and it reconnects with your vision. It forces you into strategic thinking, not survival mode, right? And it helps you align with choices with who you're becoming, not who you've been. Yeah. So, guys, as always, I always love that. It's only been in the last, 10 episodes? Right. Here's a task, guys. Here's your an exercise for you to get the creative decision switch. It takes about 60 seconds, right? And what I love about all these tasks that I've been giving you, or exercise I've been giving you, you'll be able to actually use them and have them in your toolkit, right? And so you can utilize them whenever you need. Yeah. So for the next 7 days, do this once each morning. Ask yourself, what is the one decision today that future wealth creator me would make? Ask yourself this. What is the one decision today that future wealth creator me would make? Write it down. Make it specific. Not vague. I want you to be very clear. Have that clarity, right? And then do it before anything else. Because creators lead with their highest value choice first, right? Do this and you start living as the creator, not the worker. Because this daily identity shift is exactly what your future self bot will automate for people seamlessly. Hope you liked that little plug at the end, guys. Again, as always, if you liked it, click the like button, subscribe, share it with your family and friends. And as always, if you've got feedback or a question, chuck it in the comments below and we will always get back to you. Bye for now.